The deep space sensor blinked again, and again. But the signal was unmistakable. A colossal fleet, thousands of warships moving at impossible speeds, was breaching the edge of human-controlled space. The vessels gleamed with an otherworldly, green sheen, their silhouettes unlike any recorded alien race. The vast armada crawled through the stars like a black tide ready to swallow everything in its path. On the bridge of the stellar command cruiser Valkyrie, Commander Elena Torres stared. At the sensor console, heart-pounding. The warning alarms weren't loud enough to match the dread curling in her stomach. "Report," she ordered. Lieutenant Jaren's fingers flew over the controls. "Ma'am, the fleet signature matches no known species. Transmissions intercepted, are fragmented, but we're detecting coordinated war preparations, mobilizing on multiple fronts simultaneously." Elena's jaw tightened. "Has this been reported to the Galactic Council?" "Sent twice. No response." The room fell heavy with silence. Outside the panoramic viewport, the stars shimmered cold and indifferent. But Elena knew the calm was a lie. The storm was coming. Far below, on the vibrant city planet Nova Primus, the mood was starkly different. The Galactic Council convened in the towering glass chamber, bathed in the light of a giant blue sun. Diplomat after diplomat argued over trade disputes, minor skirmishes on border planets, and cultural disagreements. The warning about the fleet was dismissed as paranoia or a minor threat, a nuisance best ignored. Ambassador Wren, a wiry human, with silver hair, pleaded once again, his voice cracking with urgency. "The reports are clear. This is no scouting mission. It is an invasion force. If we do not act, entire star systems will fall." A cold laugh echoed from the Vakari delegate, his reptilian eyes narrowing. "Humans have a history of overreacting. Your wars are primitive and local. This so-called Horde, they won't waste resources on your insignificant corner." But Ambassador Wren's gaze hardened. "You mistake arrogance for wisdom. This Horde has already consumed entire systems in darkness. Their ships appear like shadows, moving faster than we can track." The council chamber buzzed with disbelief and dismissal. The vote was unanimous. No action would be taken. The humans were left to face the threat alone. Back in orbit, Elena's Valkyrie prepared to move. "We don't have time to wait for the council's blessing," she said grimly. "Alert Earth. Prepare defenses." As the Valkyrie jumped to faster-than-light speed, distant stars blurred, revealing flashes of green fire ripping through human border worlds. The invasion had begun. On Earth, the news first reached the media as a distant rumor, an attack on a remote mining colony claimed by pirates, then a system-wide blackout. But soon, the truth exploded onto every screen. Alien warships, massive and merciless, had broken through the outer defenses. In the streets of New Chicago, chaos erupted. People screamed as power flickered out, emergency sirens blared, and holographic billboards vanished into static. Soldiers scrambled to their posts. Fighter pilots raced toward orbital hangars, their ships already primed for battle. Lieutenant Maya Chen gripped the controls of her starfighter as the sky above crackled with plasma fire. Explosions painted the clouds red and gold. Her voice came steady over the comms. "This is no drill. We're under full-scale attack. Hold your positions." But even her fierce courage could not mask the growing fear. The Horde was overwhelming in strength and technology. Human tactics were old, tested only in skirmishes and minor conflicts. This was a war on a scale no one had imagined. In the shadows of a shattered city, a young boy clutched a worn photograph of his parents, fighting back tears as alien ships descended. The war was no longer distant. It had come home. Back aboard the Valkyrie, Elena stood firm. "We may be outmatched, but we are not defeated. Humanity's spirit has always burned brightest when the darkness is deepest." The glowing green armada advanced, and with it came the promise of a war that would decide the fate of every star in human space. Earth's peaceful dawn shattered like glass. Across the globe, alarms screamed, a sound no one could mistake. The alien horde had arrived. They came not with diplomacy or warning, but with overwhelming fury. In the skies over New Chicago, the horizon glowed an unnatural green. From the void, massive ships appeared, blotting out the sun like dark gods of destruction. Plasma beams raked cities, igniting fires that spread like wildfire. Skyscrapers crumbled into rubble, their glass facades exploding in showers of sparks. Lieutenant Maya Chen's starfighter surged upward, dodging torrents of alien fire. Her hands clenched the controls as her squadron scrambled to form a defensive line. "This is not a drill! Engage hostile vessels!" Her voice cut through the chaos. Her ship shuddered violently. A massive plasma blast tore past her wingtip, slicing through the sky with lethal precision. Enemy fighters swarmed like hornets, ruthless and relentless. Each moment was a dance with death. Below, the streets were scenes of pandemonium. Civilians fled blindly as orbital strikes reduced entire neighborhoods to ash. The city's emergency broadcast system crackled with fragmented messages. "Shelter in place. Do not approach the windows." But even as the warnings echoed, the ground trembled beneath explosions. In a command bunker deep beneath the ruined city, General Marcus Voss stared grimly at the digital map. Red icons marked countless enemy landings, unprecedented for any conflict humanity had ever faced. "We're losing orbital defenses faster than anticipated," he growled. "Ground forces, hold your positions. Evacuate civilians where possible. We buy time, no matter the cost." But even his steely voice betrayed the terror gnawing at his gut. The Horde's war machines were unlike anything Earth had faced, biomechanical, monstrosities that adapted to weapons within minutes, relentlessly advancing. Meanwhile, in the sky, the monstrous alien dreadnought descended through the atmosphere, its hull pulsing with ominous green energy. As it neared Earth's surface, it released swarms of drone-like creatures, descending to scavenge and sabotage. Maya's starfighter narrowly avoided one such drone, which exploded into acid clouds nearby. Her HUD flashed warnings as systems began to fail. "Mayday! Systems critical!" she gasped. Far from the battle, on a high cliff overlooking the chaos, an old man with a weathered face watched silently. His eyes, sharp and calculating, reflected the fires burning below. "So it begins," he whispered. He reached into his coat and pulled out a battered data chip. "Time to remind them what it means to fight for Earth." Back in the ruined city streets, amid the chaos, a small group of survivors huddled in the shadows. Among them was a teenage girl, her eyes wide with fear but burning with determination. "We can't just run," she said, voice trembling but resolute. "If we don't fight, we die." Her words sparked something in the others, an ember of hope amid despair. In the orbital command center, Commander Elena Torres watched the battle unfold on countless screens. Her jaw clenched as the alien dreadnought unleashed a devastating beam that sliced through Earth's orbital shield, plunging the planet into darkness. "Communications blackout across half the hemisphere," her aide reported. "We're blind." Elena slammed her fist on the console. "We are not beaten. Launch every fighter. Hold them off. Earth is not a prize to be taken easily." Her voice was a beacon of resolve amid the storm. As night fell on the battered planet, the alien fleet's glow lit the clouds in eerie green. Fires raged unchecked. The war had arrived, brutal and merciless. But beneath the devastation, humanity's heartbeat pulsed stronger than ever. From shattered streets, from desperate fighters, from commanders and civilians alike, the fight for survival had only just begun. The night air was thick with smoke and fear. Earth's defenses were crumbling, its skies bleeding fire. But in the heart of the chaos, a fragile hope took shape. Commander Elena Torres stood in the dimly lit war room deep beneath Earth's capital. Around her, officers spoke in hushed, urgent tones, maps flickering with red zones, satellites dark where communications failed, fleets scattered and battered. "Elena, the Council is still silent," her second-in-command reported grimly. "We're cut off from most Allied systems. No reinforcements coming." She swallowed hard. The weight of command pressed on her chest like a vice. "Then we fight alone." Her voice was steel. Elsewhere, on the outskirts of the shattered city, Lieutenant Maya Chen and her squad regrouped after a brutal dogfight. Their fighters were battered, ammo running low, but retreat was not an option. The Horde's advance was relentless. "We hit them where it hurts," Maya barked. "Hit their supply lines, their weak spots. Guerrilla warfare. Surprise them." Her squad exchanged wary glances. Fighting a war of attrition against an enemy who adapted with frightening speed was madness. Yet they had no choice. Meanwhile, in a hidden underground facility known only to a few, scientists scrambled to activate an experimental weapon, a last-ditch effort to turn the tide. Dr. Kavita Rao's hands trembled as she calibrated the quantum disruptor. "If this works," she whispered, "it could cripple the Horde's command network." But the machine groaned under the strain. Every second was borrowed time. Suddenly, an explosion rocked the facility. Alarm klaxons blared. "Enemy breach," shouted a guard. Elena's voice crackled over the comms. "Hold the line! Protect that weapon at all costs!" Outside, the streets were a battlefield of shadows and flame. Human fighters slipped through alleys, ambushing alien patrols with homemade explosives and guerrilla tactics. The Horde's biomechanical soldiers advanced with terrifying precision, but they were slowed, confused. Amid the firefight, betrayal struck. A trusted officer, covertly allied with the enemy, sabotaged vital communications. "Elena, we're compromised!" a voice screamed. "They know our positions!" Her heart clenched. The enemy was inside. She steeled herself. "Then we use that against them." The city trembled as underground explosions tore through supply tunnels. Maya led a squad to seize a captured alien vessel, a prize that might reveal the Horde's secrets. Inside the eerie, pulsating ship, they discovered twisted tech unlike anything human minds had conceived. The ship's core pulsed with a strange energy. Alive. Almost sentient. Maya's fingers hovered over controls, unsure. Suddenly, a hiss echoed through the corridors. Alien guards closed in. "Move!" Maya shouted. They fought back to back, firing plasma pistols, heartbeats pounding. Outside, Elena coordinated desperate strikes, aware that every moment counted. The quantum disruptor hummed to life below, its energy building to a crescendo. The countdown began. But the enemy was closing in. As explosions rocked the facility, Elena's voice cut through the chaos. "This is humanity's last stand. Hold nothing back, fight for every breath." And fight they did. The city's lights flickered, shadows danced between ruins, and in the dark, the faint glow of hope flickered, fragile but unbroken. Darkness swallowed the small transport as it slipped through the tangled atmosphere of the Horde's homeworld. A nightmare landscape alive with danger. The air burned acidic, thick with poisonous gases that burned exposed skin. Above, strange skies churned with unnatural storms, while bioluminescent creatures prowled in the shadows like ghosts. Lieutenant Maya Chen gripped the console, breath shallow. Her squadron was deep behind enemy lines on a suicide mission. Sabotage. The Horde's latest bioengineered weapon before it could be unleashed on Earth. The fate of millions rested on their success, or failure. "Status report," Maya demanded, eyes scanning the glowing monitors. "Environmental suits holding, but life support is fragile," answered Corporal Jin, his voice tight with tension. "Visibility near zero. sensors picking up something moving. Before Maya could respond, a sudden shriek pierced the dark jungle outside. The squad froze. "Predators," Jin whispered. "We're not alone." Outside the dense canopy, tendrils of glowing vines curled like living traps, twitching toward them. Alien eyes glimmered, cold, merciless, calculating. The transport landed with a bone-jarring thud on cracked, uneven ground. The hatch hissed open, releasing a cloud of toxic mist. The squad slipped out, boots sinking into the moss-covered soil, every step echoing into the oppressive silence. Maya's heart pounded as they moved through alien ruins, remnants of a civilization twisted and destroyed by the Horde's conquest. Strange symbols carved into stone pillars seemed to writhe in the flickering light. Ahead, the bioweapon pulsed, a monstrous organic structure thrumming with unnatural energy. It breathed like a living thing, tendrils writhing, spores drifting. Into the air like poison. "Time is running out," Maya said, setting explosives. "We destroy this, or Earth dies." Suddenly the ground shook violently. From the shadows, towering alien guardians emerged, hulking beasts armored with chitin plates, eyes blazing with hatred. The squad opened fire, plasma bolts igniting the night. But the creatures advanced relentlessly, shrugging off hits as if they were mere annoyances. Maya found herself back-to-back with Jin, fighting with every ounce of strength. Around them, the jungle became a battlefield of light and death. One creature lunged, claws ripping through armor. Jin screamed, falling. Maya's fingers trembled as she detonated the charges, then sprinted for the extraction point. Smoke and fire erupted, the bioweapon collapsing in a cascade of writhing limbs and green fire. But as the squad fled, the planet itself seemed to fight back. Earthquakes split the ground, and acidic rain began to pour. The transport shuddered violently as it lifted off, dodging bursts of alien fire. Maya glanced back at the burning horror below, the weapon destroyed but at great cost. Silence filled the cabin, broken only by ragged breathing and the hum of failing life support. "Mission success," Maya said quietly. "But the war, it's far from over." The screen flickered with a new warning. Incoming Horde reinforcements closing fast. The war had fractured the galaxy. And now old enemies stepped from the shadows, their motives cloaked in uncertainty. In the cold void, aboard the ancient and battered space station Erebus, representatives from humanity's sworn enemies gathered, under a single banner: survival. Ambassador Wren sat rigidly, eyes darting between alien delegates, graceful yet unreadable Solari, fierce and towering Kralin, and the enigmatic Vakari, whose sharp reptilian gaze never wavered. "We face annihilation," Ambassador Wren began, voice low but firm. "The Horde will consume us all if we stand divided." A tense silence fell. The Vakari diplomat's voice was like sandpaper, sharp and unforgiving. "Why should we trust you? Your people once crushed ours in the Outer Rim. Alliances forged in desperation rarely last." Wren met the gaze without flinching. "Because the alternative is extinction. This war is not ours alone." As the session dragged on, suspicions simmered beneath every word. Messages were coded, eyes watching every gesture. One wrong move could ignite a new war. Outside the station, the stars stretched endless and cold, a perfect place for secrets. In the corridors, Wren's aide intercepted whispers. "There's movement in the shadows. Some factions plot to sabotage this alliance." Wren's blood ran cold. Treachery within was as deadly as the Horde without. Suddenly, alarms blared. An unauthorized boarding party breached the outer docks. Security scrambled, blaster fire echoing down sterile halls. Wren grabbed a plasma pistol, heart racing. "If we fall here, the galaxy falls. We must hold this fragile trust, no matter the cost." In the chaos, unlikely partnerships formed. Human soldiers fought alongside Solari sharpshooters and Kralin berserkers, united by desperation. but every step forward was haunted by doubt. Deep in the command chamber, Ren confronted the Vakari delegate. If we betray each other now, what hope remains? The Vakari's eyes gleamed cold fire. Then we deserve to fall. Outside the station's viewport, the void shimmered as a distant Horde fleet closed in, a reminder that time was running out. The space station Erebus shuddered violently as the alien horde stormed its halls, tearing through metal and machinery like a storm of living darkness. The station, humanity's last bastion near the enemy's core worlds, was now ground zero, in a brutal, desperate battle for survival. Commander Elena Torres sprinted down the narrow corridor, plasma pistol raised, every step echoing against the shattered walls. The air was thick with smoke and the acrid smell of burning electronics. Around her, the combined forces of humans, Solari sharpshooters, Kraylan berserkers, and Vakari warriors fought side by side, their desperation clear in every shot fired. And every wound taken. "Hold the breach!" Elena shouted, her voice sharp and commanding. "If we lose Erebus, the Horde's gate to the galaxy opens wide." Behind her, the sounds of battle, alien screeches, blaster fire, and metal tearing filled the air. The invading Horde soldiers were unlike any foe humanity had faced. Biomechanical creatures that adapted to tactics instantly, shrugging off plasma bolts as if they were mere irritations. As Elena rounded a corner, a plasma grenade exploded nearby, throwing her off balance. She slammed against the wall, ears ringing. The flickering emergency lights cast long shadows, making every silhouette a potential enemy. Her comm crackled. "Commander, sensors detect multiple hostiles in Sector 7. They're advancing fast." Elena swallowed hard. "Send reinforcements. Seal off the secondary corridors. The Horde's biomechanical weapons corroded doors and disabled security. Systems with terrifying efficiency." The station's defenses were crumbling, piece by piece. Suddenly, the station's gravity systems failed. Elena's boots left the floor as she floated, struggling to control her plasma pistol in 0G. Around her, soldiers tumbled helplessly, firing wild shots at the advancing aliens. "0G combat," Elena muttered, gritting her teeth. "Just when I thought it couldn't get worse." Maya Chen, her trusted lieutenant, appeared beside her in a similar struggle, eyes fierce despite the chaos. "We need to get to the reactor core. If they take it, the Horde could use this station as a staging ground for a full-scale assault." Elena nodded, determination blazing. "Then we destroy it before that happens." The two women fought their way through debris and enemy fire, joined by a squad of Vakari warriors whose lethal strikes kept the Horde at bay. Every step was a battle against overwhelming odds. In the command center, Ambassador Ren coordinated efforts, his voice calm but urgent over the comms. "Deploy countermeasures, seal the hangar bays, hold them off until we can evacuate key personnel." But within the walls of Erebus, betrayal lurked. Unbeknownst to the commanders, one of their own had been compromised, a spy for the Horde. Sabotage disabled critical systems, letting enemy forces pour deeper into the station. "Elena, we've been breached from the west." Maya's voice broke through the chaos. "They're inside the engineering bay," Elena cursed under her breath. "Seal off that sector now." They fought fiercely, using every trick and weapon available. Maya's squad laid down suppressing fire while Elena worked to restore damaged systems. The countdown to self-destruction had already begun. The station's reactors hummed ominously, energy building toward a cataclysmic overload. "Elena, the detonator is armed," said a technician. "We have 60 seconds. "No hesitation," Elena said firmly. "We clear the station. Now!" The corridors shook violently as explosions rocked the hull. The crew raced against time, dragging injured comrades, leaping over wreckage, and firing at any Horde creature that dared cross their path. Outside, through shattered viewports, The cold void of space was lit by the eerie green glow of the approaching Horde dreadnoughts. These titans, massive beyond comprehension, were poised to crush Erebus and humanity's last defense. But as the timer ticked down, a sudden explosion rocked the station, caused by the traitor detonating a secondary charge meant to ensure Erebus fell into enemy hands. "Elena!" Maya shouted. "We're trapped!" Smoke filled the corridor, vision fading. Elena's heart pounded as she pulled Maya close. "No, we survive." With a final sprint, they burst through a hatch into the evacuation bay where escape pods waited. The countdown hit 0. A blinding flash of light engulfed Erebus, the station exploding in a fiery blossom that sent shockwaves, rippling through the void. The Horde fleets staggered, caught off guard and scattered by the sudden loss of their staging ground. Elena and Maya hurtled away in a damaged pod, watching as the station burned, a grave monument to the sacrifices. "Maid, we won this battle," Elena whispered, voice raw with exhaustion. "But the war, it's far from over." The wreckage of Erebus still burned like a dying star in the blackness of space, but the war had not paused. The human survivors drifted in battered escape pods, faces pale beneath helmets, hearts heavy with loss. Commander Elena Torres sat slumped. Against the cold metal wall of her pod, the distant explosions a haunting echo in her mind. Yet the real danger was not just the enemy outside, it lurked among them, in whispered doubts and fractured trust. Back on the ragged human fleet, Ambassador Wren convened a tense council. The fragile alliance had held, but suspicion gnawed at every corner. The spies' sabotage had nearly doomed them all, and no one knew who else might be compromised. "We can't afford betrayal now," Wren said, voice low but commanding. "We must root out the traitor before they strike again." Elena's calm crackled. "Commander, we've detected unauthorized transmissions from within our ranks. Someone's leaking our plans." Her jaw clenched. The battlefield had changed. War was no longer just a fight against the Horde, but a deadly game of shadows within. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Maya Chen led a team to secure vital intelligence from the remains of the Erebus wreckage, hoping to uncover clues about the Horde's next move. The floating debris field was a graveyard of twisted metal and silent death. Their suits' sensors flickered erratically in the radiation-scarred debris as they moved cautiously. Every shadow seemed alive, every distant clang a threat. Suddenly, Maya's comm beeped. "Movement detected. Hostile life forms approaching." The squad froze, weapons ready. From the darkness emerged figures. Not Horde, but unknown aliens cloaked in stealth tech. Their intentions unclear. Maya's voice was tense. "Identify yourselves." No reply. The aliens advanced, weapons drawn, eyes glowing cold. Elena's warning echoed over the comms. "Trust no one outside the Alliance." The uneasy standoff cracked when one alien raised a hand in peace, revealing a data crystal. An encrypted message from an unexpected source. A faction within the Horde, itself seeking parley. Maya's squad exchanged wary glances. Could this be a ruse, or a chance to turn the tide? Back aboard the fleet, Ambassador Wren debated the risks. If even a fraction of the Horde factions oppose the war, we might fracture their forces from within. But Elena was skeptical. Or they could be bait to lure us into a trap. Suddenly, a chilling message came through from the spy, a final warning before silence. Your trust will be your undoing. The fleet's corridors echoed with paranoia. Friendships cracked, alliances strained. The war was no longer just against an external enemy, but against the corrosive power of doubt. Maya stared out into the void, the stars cold and indifferent. "We're running out of time. And trust." Elena's voice broke the silence. "Then we make our own fate. Together, or not at all." As the fleet pushed forward toward the next battleground, the shadows grew longer. And the true enemy, was no longer just the alien horde, but the betrayal lurking within. The black void outside the warship Vigilant was silent, but inside, a storm raged. Commander Elena Torres stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the holographic battlefield hovering before her. The alien horde's final assault was imminent. Colossal fleet of twisted living warships hurtling toward Earth's last defense line. Every moment ticked like a countdown to extinction. The fleet was humanity's last hope, battered, broken, but unyielding. Beside Elena, Ambassador Wren prepared diplomatic channels for the uneasy alliance's final gambit. The fragile trust forged in fire would be tested one last time. "Status report," Elena demanded, voice steely. Lieutenant Maya Chen's voice came through the comm, steady despite exhaustion. "All systems green. Defensive grids holding, but barely. The Horde is adapting faster than we predicted." Suddenly, alarms blared. An enemy boarding party breached the Vigilant's hull. Chaos erupted. Soldiers scrambled as blaster fire lit the corridors like deadly fireworks. Elena grabbed her plasma rifle, heart pounding. This is it, she thought. No more running. Through smoke and sparks, she led a counterattack, each shot a desperate bid for survival. The invading creatures were relentless, their biomechanical limbs tearing through metal and flesh alike. In the war room, Wren made a bold call. "Activate the Alliance's secret weapon. The Starforge. It's our only chance." A deep hum filled the ship as the Starforge, a colossal energy weapon buried within the hull, powered up. It could obliterate the Horde fleet, but at great risk. Firing it could destabilize the Vigilant, warned the chief engineer. "We might not survive." Elena exchanged a grim glance with Wren. "Then we make sure someone does." As the Starforge charged, Elena led a small team to hold off the boarding party, buying precious time. Every corridor was a battlefield. Every corner held death. Maya's squad fought alongside alien allies, Solari precision, Kralin ferocity, Vakari cunning, a testament to their shared will to survive. Outside, the Horde fleet closed, a monstrous wave of destruction. The Starforge's energy surged, a blinding pillar of light that tore through the enemy ranks, fracturing their warships into drifting corpses. But the blast shook the Vigilant violently, systems failing. Elena and her team retreated to the bridge. Wounded but alive, the enemy's last ships burned in the void. Silence fell. The galaxy watched as humanity stood unbroken, scarred but victorious. Elena breathed deeply, exhaustion and relief mixing. "We fought for more than survival," she said softly. "We fought for a future." Wren nodded, eyes distant. "This alliance, forged in fire and betrayal, is the only hope for peace." But even in victory, the cost was clear. Lives lost, trust shattered, and a war that had forever changed them. As the stars glimmered beyond the viewport, Elena whispered, "We took on the Horde, and we showed them what it means to face humanity's will."